I know she will bring to her new role an unwavering commitment, an unshakable devotion to duty that has become the very cornerstone of her character. It is this very commitment, this deep-seated sense of responsibility, that I have come to rely on so heavily, not just in the smallest of moments, but in times of great significance. This transition is so much more than a mere change of title or a shift in ceremonial roles. It is the embodiment of the weight and responsibility of a nation that stands at the crossroads of its past and its future, struggling with the intricacies of leadership, grappling with the raw truths of family dynamics, and navigating the ever-evolving state of the monarchy itself. The entire nation finds itself at this moment of reckoning, standing at the intersection of personal struggles and public expectations. It is a delicate, often precarious dance between honoring centuries-old traditions and embracing the modern, changing world around them. The pressure must be overwhelming, particularly in a moment so steeped in symbolism, one that carries with it the burden of not only the present but the future of the monarchy. Windsor, with its rich historic significance as the heart of royal tradition, became the backdrop for a moment unlike any other, a moment that would alter the entire balance of power. As the nation held its breath in collective anticipation, Catherine and William ascended to the throne, not in the expected manner of heirs, but as the newly crowned king and queen. It was a sudden and unexpected shift, one that few could have predicted. This abrupt transition left many unprepared, unsure of how to respond to the gravity of the moment. Rumors spread like wildfire, suggesting that King Charles's health was in a fragile state, leaving many to question how much longer he could hold the mantle of the monarchy. Behind closed doors, whispers of a deliberate restructuring of the crown itself began to emerge, with some speculating about critical decisions being made by the royal family without the public's knowledge. The royal family's inner circle exchanged nervous, uncertain glances. Those who had long supported the monarchy stood frozen in shock, their minds grappling with the seismic shift unfolding before them. The royal line, once thought to be immovable, had been altered in the most surprising way. And yet, amidst the hushed whispers and startled reactions, this transformative moment in history unfolded before the eyes of the world. But what made this transition so significant, so undeniably impactful? Was it the product of a well-calculated political maneuver, a carefully orchestrated reconfiguration of the monarchy's structure? Or was it simply the workings of fate, the hand of destiny quietly guiding the crown's passage into new hands? The answer would not come in the form of grand speeches, elaborate ceremonies, or celebratory fanfare. Instead, it would be shaped by words, simple, unadorned words that would resonate far beyond the soaring arches of Westminster Abbey. These were words that many now believe marked the true turning point for the modern monarchy. It was the Archbold of Canterbury's blessing, delivered beneath the very same arches where King Charles had been crowned just 2 years earlier, that truly set the stage for this new era. His words, though deceptively simple, carried immense weight, reverberating through the hearts of those present and echoing across the kingdom. The throne was no longer a mere birthright. It had transformed into something more profound, a sacred duty. A duty that demanded readiness, strength, and unwavering commitment from those who were willing to bear its responsibility. This message, this subtle yet powerful shift, spread with the speed of lightning, sweeping across the kingdom. A new chapter in the history of the monarchy had begun, and the nation began to take notice. As the dust settled, the image of Catherine, composed, poised, and unshakable, holding the newly crafted queen consort's crown, became a symbol of continuity, stability, and strength. This was no ordinary crown. It was a crown created by Gerard and Company, the royal jewelers who had been an integral part of the monarchy's legacy since 1735. Adorned with diamonds, sapphires, and Burmese rubies, some of which had been passed down from Queen Elizabeth II's personal collection, this crown spoke not only to the monarchy's rich history, but to its resilience and its enduring future. The crown, heavy with symbolism, was more than just an ornament. It was the very embodiment of the monarchy's continued strength. As the bells of Westminster Abbey rang through the streets of London, reverberating through the heart of the city, Catherine wore the ceremonial crown briefly, her every movement infused with the weight and promise of the role she had just assumed. For a fleeting moment, she was not simply the consort, the supportive spouse of the king. She was more, she was the key. Her of royal duty, the guardian of a monarchy that had survived centuries of trials and triumphs, and now it was in her hands, the hands of someone who understood the magnitude of the task before her. In that moment, she became the embodiment of the monarchy's enduring strength, its resilience in the face of change, and its unwavering commitment to the future. Her serene, dignified composure did not go unnoticed by those who watched from afar. The onlookers, both in person and through the screens of their televisions, could see that Catherine was not just accepting a title. She was accepting a responsibility, one that required more than just duty, but grace, determination, and a quiet strength that would see the monarchy through the challenges ahead. This was not a mere change of title, it was a profound shift in leadership, a redefinition of what it meant to be part of the royal family and the royal tradition. Catherine's quiet dignity and the responsibility she shouldered in that brief moment would forever change how the nation saw her. Her role was no longer just as the wife of the future king. She was now the protector of the monarchy's legacy, the face of its future. As the ceremony concluded, and Catherine and William made their first public appearance together at Windsor Castle, the streets were filled with thousands of people who had gathered to witness history unfold. Crowds lined the streets, holding flowers and waving flags in a spontaneous outpouring of support and admiration. Among the crowd, many people wore handcrafted badges that read, "For the future, William and Catherine," signaling that they were no longer just the heirs to the throne but the new active heart of the monarchy. Catherine, still wearing the lighter ceremonial crown and dressed in a dove-grey coat, moved through the crowd with a quiet, assured confidence. She met the eyes of the people, acknowledging their presence with a calm yet powerful grace. William, standing beside her, exuded a warmth and presence that balanced his reserved authority. Together, they moved with a purpose, not as figures bound by tradition, but as leaders already stepping into their roles. As they made their way through the crowd, children handed Catherine folded notes, their faces bright with excitement and hope. An elderly veteran who had seen so much in his life leaned forward and whispered, "God bless the new queen." Catherine's response, "God bless the king," was a simple but profound acknowledgement of the partnership that was unfolding between her and William. It was a subtle yet powerful signal to the nation that this was a leadership built on unity, shared responsibility, and a deep sense of mutual respect. Behind the scenes, palace aides worked quietly, carefully crafting their statements. They were careful to emphasize that this was not a regency. This was a co-stewardship, a quiet yet firm acknowledgement that the responsibilities of the monarchy had now shifted. King Charles, still recuperating at Sandringham, had not only relinquished the throne but had entrusted the day-to-day duties of the monarchy to William and Catherine. The change had happened almost imperceptibly, but it was real. Yet the absence of Queen Camilla, who had chosen to remain at Ramel House for what she called introspection, added a layer of intrigue to the entire situation. Some speculated that her absence was not just a matter of personal reflection, but a sign of deeper tensions within the royal family. Public sentiment quickly shifted as people took to social media, celebrating Catherine and Princess Anne and what many referred to as the return of a duty-driven monarchy. A poll conducted by YouGov found that 84% of the British public believed the change had been timely and necessary. It was a sign that the monarchy was moving forward, adapting to a new era. And so, through a quiet yet unmistakable shift, the monarchy had evolved. It wasn't just a matter of ceremonial titles or public appearances. It was a profound transformation, one that had already taken place without the need for a grand coronation or public declaration. Catherine had already stepped into her role as the embodiment of the monarchy's future. And with that, the world was watching, waiting, as the next chapter of the monarchy began to unfold before their eyes. Her serene demeanor, paired with a quiet but unmistakable sense of responsibility, did not go unnoticed by anyone present. Onlookers were captivated not just by a figure assuming a title, but by a woman embracing a profound burden with grace and resolve. In that fleeting yet powerful moment, the world saw something far deeper than a change of title. It saw a shift in leadership itself. Catherine's composed dignity reframed how the nation perceived her, solidifying her place not just in ceremony, but in the very narrative of the monarchy's future. After the benediction, William and Catherine emerged together for their first public appearance at Windsor Castle. The streets had transformed into vibrant avenues of emotion and anticipation. Tens of thousands of people had gathered, their voices blending into a wave of cheers, blossoms and flags held aloft under the winter sun. Among them, handmade badges proclaiming "For the future, William and Catherine" glimmered in the crowd, a powerful testament to the public's hope and investment in the couple's path forward. In that instant, they were no longer simply heirs. They had become the living, beating heart of a monarchy in transition. Catherine, wearing the lighter ceremonial crown and a dove-grey coat that spoke of elegance and purpose without ostentation, moved through the crowd with calm assurance. William walked beside her, his presence radiating warmth balanced with measured authority. Children pressed forward eagerly, offering her folded notes and shy waves. In return, she met each with a gentle nod, a smile that acknowledged not just their words but their faith in her. An elderly veteran, leaning forward with eyes bright despite the chill in the air, murmured, "God bless the new queen." Catherine's heartfelt, unguarded reply, "God bless the king," spoke volumes about the partnership that was unfolding before the eyes of a watching nation. Behind the scenes, palace aides chose their words with meticulous care. They emphasized that this was not a regency, not a mere delegation of ceremonial duties. Instead, what was unfolding was a form of co-stewardship, a quiet recognition that the responsibilities once solely borne by King Charles had now been formally shared with the next generation. Though King Charles was recuperating under medical supervision at Sandringham, his decision to trust William and Catherine with daily duties was both symbolic and substantive, marking a transition already in motion. Yet the absence of Queen Camilla cast a shadow of intrigue over the occasion. She had chosen not to attend, citing a period of personal introspection. While official statements framed the absence as a private moment of reflection, some observers speculated that it hinted at deeper, more complex dynamics within the royal family. To many, her choice seemed to underscore a broader shift, a tacit acknowledgement that the mantle of visible leadership was moving toward those seen as most prepared to carry it forward. The public, ever attuned to symbolic nuance, quickly seized upon the meaning of both presence and absence. In the days that followed, social media platforms buzzed with hashtags celebrating Catherine and Princess Anne. Many commentators framed the events as a return to a monarchy grounded in duty, visible leadership, and purposeful engagement with the public. Reinforcing this interpretation, polling data shows that Prince William and Catherine remain among the most popular and positively viewed members of the royal family, with favorable ratings in the mid-70% range among British adults. As the ceremonial moments gave way to broader public reaction, it became clear that what had occurred was not simply a public relations milestone, but a meaningful moment of emotional recalibration for the monarchy's image and future. Catherine's composure and warmth, coupled with William's reassuring presence, spoke to a leadership rooted not just in heritage, but in relatability, responsibility, and genuine connection with the public, qualities that historically resonate deeply in times of transition. A single image captured the world's attention, an unforgettable still moment that seemed to crystallize the silent shift that had taken place. In that timeless frame, Catherine, poised, composed, and almost reverent, bowed deeply to Princess Anne as the ceremonial crown was presented. It was a gesture heavy with meaning, not just a formality, but a powerful visual metaphor for the subtle transfer of influence and respect within the royal institution itself. Major international outlets hailed the photograph as one of the defining royal images of the decade, a snapshot that would be replayed and analyzed for years to come. As dusk settled like a soft veil over the ancient stones of Windsor, William paused at the memorial oak planted in honor of King Charles II, a quiet gesture of homage that spoke more profoundly than any speech. The day had been long, marked by symbolism and ceremony, yet in this solitary moment its emotional resonance was unmistakable. Catherine stood nearby, her gaze measured and attentive, fully present to the gravity of both what had transpired and what lay ahead. The two figures there, one paying tribute to the past, the other already stepping fully into her new role, formed a poignant tableau of continuity and change. In the dim, golden light of early evening, their silhouettes seemed to signify something deeper, that the monarchy had evolved in its essence, even as its outward traditions endured. There was no need for a grand coronation fanfare or an official proclamation to underscore what had already taken place. The shift had already occurred, its momentum underway long before any public declaration could catch up. The true question was no longer whether the monarchy had changed, but just how far this transformation would reach. As William and Catherine began their procession back toward the castle, the crowd outside Windsor Castle erupted into cheers, waving flags and calling out their names with a mix of familiarity and affection. From the outside, it looked like celebration, tradition, and continuity. But for those attuned to the undercurrents of the day's events, it was clear that the real drama was unfolding not in the streets, but inside the palace walls. The images from earlier, especially the moment Princess Anne placed the crown on Catherine's head, were not merely ceremonial snapshots. They were visual signals of a new reality taking shape behind Buckingham Palace's grand doors. The symbolism of that image rippled through public and private spheres alike, resonating far beyond what any official statement could articulate. Inside Buckingham Palace itself, the weight of the moment was palpable. Queen Camilla's absence from key events had already sparked discussion, adding a layer of quiet speculation to an institution long defined by formality and tradition. But it was the changing structure of palace operations that most clearly reflected this unseen shift in authority. What had once been separate reporting lines, teams aligned with Clarence House and Buckingham Palace, were now being reorganized in a way that positioned William and Catherine at the organizational center. This was more than a logistical reshuffle. It signaled a new locus of influence within the monarchy itself. As the corridors of Buckingham Palace buzzed with activity, aides and officials saw firsthand that the true transformation was not happening on the balcony or in the cheering crowds, but in the quiet reassignment of duties, teams, and responsibilities behind the scenes. The public festivities were a surface expression, a visible chapter in a narrative that was unfolding far more significantly out of sight. Despite palace officials describing recent changes as a temporary reorganization, it was increasingly clear to those within royal circles that something far more substantial was unfolding. The atmosphere inside the palace had shifted, subtle at first, but unmistakable to insiders who watched long-standing traditions evolve into something more fluid. Princess Anne, known for her steadiness and deep sense of duty, played a surprising and pivotal role. Behind closed doors, she was reportedly the one who encouraged King Charles to take decisive action, articulating a confidence in the next generation that seemed to echo widely among senior royals. One insider recalled her words precisely, "Charles, you can relax, they're prepared." That phrase quickly became a quiet rallying cry throughout the palace, a tacit acknowledgement that the monarchy was already moving forward even as the king focused on his health and recovery. Within days of the historic Abbey blessing, Catherine's role expanded beyond ceremonial symbolism into active leadership. At Kensington Palace, she hosted a luncheon for Commonwealth Youth Ambassadors, a refreshingly contemporary event focused on discussions about education, opportunity, and international collaboration, without carriages, crowns, or the pageantry traditionally associated with royal occasions. Instead, the emphasis was on substance over spectacle, signaling a new mode of engagement for the future of the institution. As the world watched, Catherine's composed authority garnered sustained attention. British newspapers and royal commentators praised her leadership, often framing her growing visibility as evidence that the monarchy was anchoring itself in purpose and moral steadiness in an era of change. The atmosphere in the palace, however, remained tinged with quiet anxiety. A few days after the blessing, Fiona Shelburne, Queen Camilla's private secretary, resigned, citing ongoing reorganization as her reason for stepping down. At the same time, staff who had long worked under Clarence House were quietly reassigned to serve directly under William and Catherine at Kensington Palace, an administrative shift that many interpreted as a subtle but meaningful reorientation of influence within the royal household. Amid these internal changes, Princess Anne remained a stabilizing presence, frequently present, offering reassurance to King Charles and emphasizing continuity amidst transformation. When asked whether the evolving structure might be permanent, Anne's succinct declaration, "The crown awaits bravery rather than consolation," resonated deeply. Her words, both poetic and firm, underscored a distinctly forward-looking outlook, sharply contrasting with the palace's traditionally cautious tone. As whispers of a dual monarchy began to circulate among analysts and media commentators, it became increasingly apparent that the British monarchy had changed in substance even if not in name. Catherine and William, though not officially crowned in their new roles, were already operating as co-stewards of the institution in practice. What might once have been unthinkable, shared authority, shared visibility, shared leadership, was rapidly becoming the new norm. For many observers, this evolution felt less like a disruption and more like a natural progression, an institution adapting to the needs of the present age, grounded in both tradition and relevance. And with that evolution came a new lens through which the world began to view the crown, not simply as a symbol of heritage, but as a living institution shaped by the readiness and sense of duty of those who wear it. In practical terms, this shift is also reflected in the appointments and responsibilities the couple is expected to undertake. Starting in spring 2026, William and Catherine will have the authority to grant royal warrants, an official endorsement given to individuals or companies that supply goods or services to the royal household, further solidifying their operational role in the monarchy's day-to-day life. As the world continues to follow this unfolding story, it has become clear that the monarchy is no longer bound by tradition alone. Instead, it is evolving with the needs of the nation and its people, approaching its role with adaptability, gravitas, and a sense of shared purpose. The question is no longer whether this change will endure, but how profoundly it will shape the monarchy's future. And with Catherine and William increasingly at the helm, that future is already being written and watched by millions around the globe.